Hi everyone, let's continue with the Plan 75 coding series. So today I'm going to solve one of the favorite question, maximum subarray. Okay, so let's go through the problem statement. Given an integer array number, find the subarray with the largest sum and return its sum. So here the ask is just to return the sum. Okay, for example, so for this input, like we need to find a subarray whose sum is maximum and we just need to return its sum. We don't need to return or print the subarray. For example, for this input, if we see the maximum sum array is this one, 3, that is clearly highlighted here and mentioned here also. It's 4 minus 2, 2, 1. This minus minus will calculate out, and 4 plus 2 is 6, and that is having the maximum sub array. Okay, so there for this array there could be a number of sub arrays. For example, even this one is a sub array, this one is a sub array, like even this entire one is a sub array. So for any element or for any array of size n, there are n into n plus 1 by 2 subarray that we call n square. Okay. For example, let's do the quick validation for this one. Okay. So we could have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Okay. So total is 1 plus 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If we just use this formula also, 3 into 3 plus 1 by 2, 4 by 2 is 2, and 3 into 2 is 6. So it is satisfying. Okay, so we know like for any subarray there could be n into n plus 1 subarray possible, and among all this subarray we just need to return the subarray which is having maximum sum, and we just need to return the sum. We don't need to print the subarray or return the subarray. Okay, so let's try to come up with some solution for this one. So let me just do a quick copy paste of this example. Okay, so we have this problem statement, and this is one of the input. Okay, so as we just discussed, for an array of size n, total subarray is n into n plus 1 by 2. Okay, so one solution would be, or brute force solution would be, generate all subarray and calculate its sum and calculate the maximum and return this maximum. So let's try to calculate the time and space complexity of this approach. So as we just discussed, for an array of size n, there are n into n plus 1 by 2 subarray possible. And while generating the subarray, at that point only we can perform the summation, so that the overall time complexity would be n square, and the space complexity would be order of n, since we don't need to store or create any extra space to store any unit. So using just few variables, we can store the temporary sum and the maximum sum, and we can return the maximum sum accordingly. Okay, So can we do it in a better time complexity? So let's try to calculate the time complex. Let's try to come up with some working approach that has lower time complexity. So before that, let me quickly copy the input output so that we can use the same example to understand and come up with any working approach. Okay, so let's use the same example here to try to come up with an optimal approach. Like one brute force approach we already have. We have already discussed the time and space complexity, and we see the time complexity is polynomial of two order. So let's try to use the standard algorithm or the best algorithm to solve this problem efficiently. So that algorithm we call it curtain algorithm. Okay. Let's try to understand what is this curtain algorithm and how can we use this one to find the maximum sum subarray. Okay. So for any element that we are currently processing, we can take a call. Either we should use this one in our result set or we can exclude that one. And if we are excluding that one, then definitely like we should start checking for another subarray. For example, here we are interested in finding the subarray, not the subsequence. So it should not be a case like up to this element we have taken and after that this element we are skipping and taking this element. We need to take the contiguous element. Hope you understand it. So let's try to okay. So for this element, let's say like I'm currently processing, then I can take a call. Either we should include it into our result set or we can exclude that one. So up to this point, our let's introduce few variable temp sum and max sum and let them initialize with the first value. Okay. Now for the second element, we can take a call. Either we should include it into our result set or we can start from there itself. So if I include this one in our result set, the maximum what we could have minus 2 plus 1, that is minus 1. Okay. And if I just exclude this one in our result set and start firstly from this index to find the sub array, then the max value for this starting one would be 1. So among this minus 1 and 1, I see like 1 is maximum. So what I will do, I will exclude all the previous element and I will start finding the subarray from this index and I'm including this element into my result set. Okay. So my max sum will get updated to 1 and temp sum will be updated to 1. For this minus 3 also, I will take a call whether I should include this minus 3 into our current subarray that we have find or should we start from this minus 3 directly as the new subarray. Okay, so this minus 3 if I just start from this index, okay, or considering or including this element, and the another possibility would be if I just exclude this include this one. So if I just include this one, what we could have. So before this, the total sum we are already storing in temp sum, the subarray sum, like the subarray that we have chosen. In that subarray, I'm just going to introduce one new element that is having value minus 3. So 1 minus 3 minus 2. So definitely like this minus 2 is smaller than this one. So instead of starting from this one as my new subarray start, instead of starting and using this one as a new starting point for my new subarray, I will include this one into my existing resultant subarray. So in that server, I am having this value. Okay. So my temp sum will get updated to minus 2. So I am not going to update my max sum because like still I will just use this one as a sub array and that is having the maximum sum and I will just return this. So for this 4 also I can take a call whether I should include it into my existing result set that I have just prepared, that is having two element 1 and minus 3. Okay, and their summation is minus 2, or should I start freshly from this point? So if I start freshly from this point, then this is the value if I just include it, and if I just exclude it, include into my existing results, then I would have value 2. So definitely like it's a better one. So the max from this 4 and 2 is 4. So what we can do, we can start freshly from this point, okay? And I will just update my temporary sum to 4 and maximum also as 4. So it simply states like we could have a subarray where the starting element is this one. I will try to check whether we could include more element into this resultant subarray or not. Otherwise, like we have one subarray that is having element 4, and this is the maximum sum till the element. I have done the processing for the given array. So for this minus 1, I can again take a call whether I should start freshly from this point or I should include it into my resultant set. Now this one has discarded. I just have one in my existing resultant set. So max of this minus 1, if I just exclude this one and start freshly from this point, or otherwise if I just include it into my resultant set, then definitely 3 is greater. So what I will do, I will include it. So then my temporary sum will get updated to 3, okay, and my resultant subarray is currently containing 4 and minus 1, okay, but my maximum is not updated yet because still like I would choose 4 as a subarray and I will simply return the result. Now let's process this one again. Here if I just do the comparison, either should exclude this one or include this one, then definitely 5 is greater. So what I will do, I will update my temp sum and maximum sum will also get updated, and the resultant subarray is 4 minus 1 and 2, okay. Now let's include this one also. So if I include this one, the temp sum would become 6, max result will also become 6 because 1 plus 5 and 1 max is 6. So I will just update it. Again I would came here, minus 5 or 6 minus 5, 1. So the maximum is 1, okay. My maximum will not get updated. For 4 also, either 4 or 1 plus 4, okay. The temp sum will get updated to 5, but my maximum will not get updated. So at the end I will just return 6, okay. The answer is 6. So let's discuss the time and space complexity of this approach. So if you see this array, we are just doing the linear iteration, so the time complexity is order of n and the space complexity is order of n. Since we are not going to use any extra space, we are just storing, we are using a few variables just to store the temporary sum and maximum sum. So let's try to code the solution quickly. So here I will just use the same variable, temp sum and max sum. You need to take care of the cases like let's say like your array doesn't have any element. Then in such cases, if you try to place the zeroth index element, then you will get array out of bound exception if your array is empty. So make sure like if the array is empty, you are simply returning 0. But considering the constraint here, we are safe to assume like at least one element will be present in our array, so this will never throw any array out of bound exception. Okay. Yeah, please make sure the please check all the constraint that is given in the column, or otherwise if such constraints are not provided, you need to explicitly handle of the case of fetching zeroth index if the array is empty. Otherwise you are good to go ahead with this current implementation. And here again I will just take a call whether I should include it or exclude it. If I just include it, I include it into my result set, and this is the case for excluding. Maximum will just store the maximum at any point of time. Whatever is the max of array sum, will just take care of that one. And I will simply return maximum. That's it. So let's try to run this one for the another input that is given to us. 5, 4 minus 1, 7, 8. Let's try to run the code. Let's try to submit the code. Okay, here you see like our code is accepted, and we have already discussed the time and space complexity of this solution. Now one quick question that could arise. So let's say like if someone is asking what is the subarray that is having the maximum sum, can you print the subarray also? Question is, can you print the subarray also? Subarray also. Now considering the current implementation that we have done, uh, in this one like we are not storing the starting index and the end index of the subarray. And if someone is asking us like print the subarray also, then we should take care or maintain the state of the start index and the end index so that we can easily handle that one. Let's try to see how we can extend our approach to take care of this printing the subarray also. Now our requirement is print the subarray also. So for subarray, definitely like it has a start index and end index. So we have to store these two variable value, and after that we could simply go to this index and we'll iterate the array till the end index and we'll just return this array. Okay. Now to calculate the start index and end index, how we can implement or update our existing logic to store these two index value. So let's take one example to do it quickly. So I'm just going to use a small subarray. For example, let's try to reduce it to minus 1. Okay, let's say like I have something like this. This is the smallest subarray. And here for this one, if you see the smallest subarray is 42, that is having a sum as 6, and this is the max one. Okay, for the subarray, like we could have a value, sum of all the elements value, this 6. So here again, like we would apply the same approach, this minus 2. Okay, and let's say like I have this start index that is currently in slice and index that is currently in slice to 0, and one temp start we can understand or we should use. So currently I'm starting from this one. So here the sum is negative. Okay, if the sum is negative, then definitely like what we can say. So like this is my sub array that is having start index as this one and in index as this one, and this is the maximum sum that we could achieve. Max sum, let's say like it is also in slide to minus infinity, and temp sum is 0. So I started from this cell, okay, and I added into my temp sum. Okay, so temp sum is minus 2. Definitely like this temp sum is greater than the maximum sum, so I should update my maximum also, and we need to update our start index and end index also. Okay, so here if you see my end index should get updated to 0, that is currently 0 only, and my start index is also 0. But here if you see like the summation is to negative, so what we could do, so the next time like we can skip this entire index one and can start freshly from the next element. Okay, so from this one the temp sum would become what, and whenever like we are changing, like whenever we see the total summation is becoming into, we should initialize this one, so that we should start, we can skip up to that part, and from the next index I will start finding the sub array which could have the maximum sum. Okay, so for this one the temp sum would become 1. Okay, and I see here like it is greater than the maximum sum, I will update that one. Okay, and do I need to update my start index and end index also? Yes, the start index would get updated to 1 because this is the new starting point, and end index will also get updated to 1. Okay, so for this next element that I am currently processing, the total summation here would be 1 plus minus 3, that is minus 2. Okay, does it greater than the maximum sum? No, it is not. So it will remain as it is. Do we need to update our temporary sum, start index, end index? No, because like this is not greater than the current maximum that we are having. But here, if you see, the temp sum has become negative. So we'll apply the same logic. We'll reset its value to 0 and we'll update our temp start to the next index one. Okay. So it will start pointing to this, to 3. Okay. Now again for this one, the temp sum would become 4. Okay. So we'll check whether it is greater. Yes, it is greater. So if it is greater, then we need to update our start index and index. So its start index would become 3. This would be the new start index, and end index also become 3. Okay, now let's start processing the next element, that is 2. So here 4 plus 2 is 6. That is greater than the current value 6. Do I need to update my start index and end index also? Okay. So here I see the start index would remain the same. This 3 1 that is present here, and end index would becomes the index on which like I am doing the current processing. So it would become 4. Again I would came here, then 5 6 minus 1 5. Is it greater than? No, it is not greater than. Do I need to update the start index or end index? No, we don't need to update it. So your result would be this one, 3 and 4. So just go into this array and take the element from this 3 and 4 and print it and return it. 4 and 2, you just return it. Now let's do a quick implementation of this one also. So what we can do, we can modify this one only. Temp sum is greater than max sum, then we should update our max sum as temp sum, and our start index will also get updated to temp start, because this start index is a final one and index is the final one that would store the ultimate result, and index this one. Else we are making temp sum equals to 0, and temp start we are making as I plus on the next index one. And now we should return our maximum that we are returning also. Let's try to print this array. Okay, here we see one issue. So yeah, we have a start index, not a start, and we have end index, not end. Are we having? No, we just have two errors. We have just resolved this one. So let's try to run it. Okay, so for this one, it is not returning the actual result. Let's try to see what it is returning and what is expected output. So 4196123. Okay. So what could be the issue? Let's try to understand. Let's try to run the code from 0 index. Let's do one thing. Let's take input one by one and try to see. Okay, so here we are returning 4 only. So here the value is starting doing the summation. Temp sum is greater than max sum. We are updating max sum. Okay, temp start. Else temp sum at any point of time. So yeah, as per the current logic, seems to be perfect. Let's try to debug it properly. See the value of the start index and end index. So here we are just having this 3 and 3. Okay, so temp sum we are doing the summation as soon as it is positive. Like we are doing updating, and as soon as it is becoming negative, else part would be negative case only. Okay, so here like we are debugging that one. So if sum is less than negative, then only update and reset the value. Let's try to print it and see the output. Okay, now you see here it is working as expected. So as soon as it is greater than, then we are good. As soon as it is becoming negative, if it is equals to 0, then we don't need to worry. We can ignore that part. And here you can see my server is also getting printed as expected. And these are the starting index and end index we have for this one. So we are printing that one also. So yeah, that's all I have from my end.